Fielder gets past him. Gray. Fantasia can go long. That's bouncing through. Massive. Got three. Have a listen to this.
What's next for the Port Adelaide Power after flunking out once again in the prelim finals, this time in emphatic fashion, how they went down, never stood a chance. And we just have to sit in question, really, what's next?
Yeah, it's the way they flunked out, as you said, was disappointing. And I think this is probably their last year in my eyes where they could have competed for a flag. I don't see them coming back next year and making the grand final, nor making it all the way to the preliminary finals. But yeah, I think it's end of the road for Port Adelaide. They've had their time to come up to the top and try and compete, but they just haven't had the success that obviously they've wanted. So we'll get started with the first segment. What was the best win you saw them have this year?
I had to jump in with probably their qualifying final against a quality opposition in Geelong. Maybe not so quality in finals, but they're a quality opposition nonetheless. 43-point victors. And Geelong really never stood a chance after Port's 4-1 in the second quarter. And Port booked their second straight preliminary final berth.
Very good. I've gone with a couple of weeks prior, round 22 against the Blues, Mark Murphy's 300th. They found themselves down 20 early in the second, and then they flicked a switch and kicked 19 straight goals to win by 95 points and absolutely just obliterate Carlton and what could have been easily the worst loss of the season. Get 19 goals kicked against you in a row was just an absolute shocker for the Blues.
Absolutely. Now, for their worst loss, we both had the same answer, and it wasn't a convincing game.
Yeah, it has to be their preliminary final loss, right? It has to be. They lose by 70 points, having home territory against the Bulldogs, who've travelled to Tasmania and Brisbane in weeks prior. And just to get absolutely smashed by 70 points in a preliminary final where you were the favourites to win and one of the favourites maybe even to go all the way and win the flag, to concede the first 6 goals and concede 12 and a half when you're only kicking 3, it was just very disappointing. And I think that's on a whole nother level when it comes to the worst loss that they had. Did you agree?
Yeah. We both had the same. Obviously, they had the convincing win against the Cats 2 weeks earlier and then just flicked the absolute switch. It went from A+ to F- in a 2-week gap. You just have to question what went wrong.
Yeah.
They had a week off compared to the Dogs, and maybe that was the problem. They got a little bit overconfident. Obviously, the Dogs winning the semi-final in a match they probably shouldn't have won. And look, they probably just got ahead of themselves, I reckon, in that prelim.
Probably,
but I don't know. It just made you really question what Port are made of. And they're certainly not a top 4 contender for me for next year, which may be a bit harsh, but I really don't see it happening.
Yeah, I agree. I think their time in the top 4 is just over. We'll move on next to the top 3 in the best and fairest. If the award hadn't already been done, who would you have in there?
As we said, the award has already been done, but I can't fault their top 3. I believe their top 3 was Aaliyah, Bloke and Wines, which is exactly what I had. So as I just said, 3 Aaliyah, 15 touches, 6.5 marks, the 4 intercept marks, which is just incredible. 5 spoils, 9 intercept possessions. He just jumped out of the gates this year. His move from Sydney proved to be a very, very good one. Number 2 was Boak, the 28 touches, 5 tackles, 6 clearances, 4 inside feet. He's been doing it for 12 years, and this year was no different. And obviously 1 was the Brownlow medalist in Ollie Wines. Speaks for itself. The 35 touches, half a goal a match, 4.5 tackles, 6 clearances, 5 inside 50s, just elite season.
Yeah. I'm going the exact same. I think it was very hard to top these three. I don't think anyone was in another level compared to them. So yeah, Adelaide in 3, Boak in 2, and also Wines in 1. Yeah, very solid players for Port this year.
Very good. Now we will jump into the most surprising player. This player either exceeded or did not reach their expectations.
I think the player I put exceeded many expectations. I don't think anyone saw this happening, but I've gone with ADELAIDE. Coming across from Sydney, we all know, easily one of the best recruits that Port Adelaide got. An All-Australian nomination, absolutely ridiculous. As you said, 15 touches, which was up by 6 from last year, 6.5 marks, which is up 3. 4 intercept marks, up 3. 5 spoils, up by 2.5, and 9 intercept touches, which is up by 6. And he's just going to keep improving his game. He
100%.
didn't get that much time at Sydney to show what he was all about, but Port Adelaide chucked him into the side earlier this year, and boy, oh boy, did he make the most of it. He just took the league by storm. He's one of most people's favourite players now. He's certainly one of mine now. To see him just to see him come across in front and take the intercept mark and just gets to every contest down the back for Port Adelaide, and he's going to be the backbone of their backline for the next few years to come.
Yep. Mine went to Carl Amon. A little bit of a random name that doesn't get talked about a lot, but he was plus 7 touches compared to last year to bring it up to 23. Add a tackle, add 2 inside 50s. He's just the perfect role player for your team, and particularly the Port Power, who sort of need that third inside mid, which he plays somewhat. He sort of gets thrown all around the ground, really, which is perfect for a role player, but he's exactly what the Power needed this year. And yeah, he rose to the occasion and didn't let down.
Yeah, very good. We'll now move on to the most talking question. The biggest question that they're going to ask themselves over this offseason is, what do they do for next year? Do they need to target anyone? Or do they just simply run back the exact same team?
Is there an answer? I don't know.
Can't find one.
As I said at the start, I don't see them as a realistic premiership threat. They're doable, but not realistic. Like this year's, the way they ended was, as we've touched on, just appalling. I don't know what they need.
Yeah.
Look, their midfield's okay, but it's not competing with the likes of Melbourne. Their forward line it clicks. They need their young ones to step up, like Rosie needs to step up again, but doesn't compete with Geelong's. They need their defense is decent, but it doesn't compete with, Melbourne's again or Brisbane's or anyone's. It just, I don't know. They're a bit of a mediocre chance for next year, I think.
Yeah. I feel like next year is their last year for them to compete. This year was probably one of the last. I think next year they're going to go all in. As you know, they're going to get rid of Boak and Boak and Gray. Sorry, both of them are 33. I think they'll probably go in the next 1 or 2 years. And then who are they going to fill the shoes of Boak? We all know how good a player he is, and who's going to fill the shoes of Robbie Gray? We all know how good both of them are, and yeah, I think in a few years' time, that team that we said, the Melbourne Lions, maybe even St Kilda, it's going to overrun them in a few years' time. They're going to all start aging. Wine, the thing, is up there himself, so they're entering the twilight of their career. So again, I think, it's one of the last years for them to compete all in for a flag.
Now, your predictions for 2022, if you haven't seen our predictions video, it is absolutely booming. Go check it out. I had them in 6th. I see them dropping a fair way from their 1st and 2nd in back-to-back years. I can't see them being the premiership threat that they have been the last 2 years, as I've said multiple times. Where do you have them?
I had them in at 5th. I was off on you, but again, I see them dropping out again. I see, Brisbane's, the Geelongs, the D's, and the Dogs all being better than them, and I wouldn't be surprised if they even drop it even a bit lower, to be honest. I don't think they're making the top 4 in my eyes, but who knows? They might, as I said, go in for an all-in one last finals push, and who knows what could happen. But I think they're going to miss out on the top 4, unfortunately. We'll now move on to the final segment. If their season was a test, what would you be throwing on the front cover in their report grade?
Look, I'd have to give it probably a B plus.
Yeah.
They're a good team. They had a lot of promising wins. They just couldn't get it done in the top 4 scenario and when it really mattered.
Yeah. I've gone with a B plus too. I would have had them in an A, but again, their preliminary final loss just bumped them down that ranking again. They're not built. They're also not built for the big stage yet. We all know they flunked out last year, and they got absolutely obliterated this year again in the exact same scenario, home prelim, and had to go in the B plus. As you said, that's some promising wins, and they also lost some that they really shouldn't have. And yeah, I feel like a B plus was just about right for their season.
Very good. So I think that wraps up the Port Adelaide Powers season review, unless you have anything else to add.
Nah, I'm all done.
All sweet. So as I said, that wraps up the Port Adelaide Power 2021 season review. Join us on Friday for the Premiers in Melbourne season review. Otherwise, join us tomorrow where we grade every team's 2021 trade period. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you then.